All right, I think we're going to get started. Good afternoon and good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's installment where we're going to be reviewing NEC dvLED. My name is Gina Spatafor, Trade Show Manager for NEC Display Solutions. Before I turn it over to our presenters, there are a few things I'm going to mention. All lines have been muted. And this webinar today is a little more casual than our CTS courses. So I invite you to ask questions throughout the webinar via the chat window, and we can address them as we move forward. Otherwise, we'll answer them at the end of the call. So our presenters today are Adam Mustafa and Ken Silvestri, dvLED product specialists, both part of NEC Solutions Group. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Adam.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your time. Next slide, Ken. I'm going to start off with going over direct view LED construction. Just like large format, traditional large format display, you need an array, right? For large format, it's usually 46 or 55. With dvLED, what you're looking at here is 27-inch, our FA or FE series. The difference is, of course, it's seamless, as you all can tell. That's the main difference between a large format and LED. NovaStar controller, widely used in the industry, very user-friendly, easy to get trained on. Shuttle PC source, it can be a computer or a media player, and also mounting structure. We're going to go over mounting structures. There are many options ahead in the presentation. Next slide. What's the right solution? With projection, we all know that you can get great options on resolution. It's easy to adjust image size without having to add extra modules, so that can be done nice and easy. Brightness it's nice and bright. Cost is lower than the other solutions, and the issue usually is the ambient light, especially when it comes to outdoor projection. That's usually a problem. With large format, it's easy to move around. The 4K can be achieved in small packages. Nice and bright, up to 2500 nits. The problem with large format is bezels, and this is where LED comes to play. You can go as large as you want with LED with 0 bezels. And then you're restricted to 46s or 55s for monitor sizes. Next slide. Of course, for LED, my number one selling point is no seams. You can go as large as you want with no seams. We just have to keep adding controllers as we go to support that many extra pixels. Deeper black levels competes very well against ambient light. Even for outdoor, we can go up to 5,000 nits, and that will balance out your sunlight and your other factors. And again, installation is very simple nowadays. We can do that, and the mount is up in anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, and the whole entire project can be done within 3 business days or so. Depends, of course, on the size, but it's relatively fast now. Screens can be unlimited. You can go any size you want. You just have to keep in mind controllers, and then brightness up to 1200 nits for indoor and goes up to 6000 nits for outdoor. And the issue is it can be a little pricey, and that's going down. So this is not an issue anymore. The price keeps going down. So next slide. Again, what's the right solution? You want to consider many things. You want to consider ambient light. Again, is an outdoor application. So you want to make sure that we keep that in mind. Would an outdoor LED work better in the projection? Also smoke, temperature, and humidity. And of course, for outdoor options, we consider the IP rating as well. Viewing distance, who's your closer viewer? Who's your average viewer? Where is the CEO sitting? Is he sitting or she sitting in the middle or the back? That has to be kept in mind as well. And is it PowerPoint or is it video? With still images, we kind of have to stick with lower resolution or pixel pitch. And with videos, we can get away with a higher 2.5 plus millimeter. Next slide. And again, where is your rack room? Is it below 300 feet where traditional copper can be used, or is it more than 300 feet where we have to consider fiber? Mounting solutions, many options. Wall mount, that's usually the standard that our kits at least come with, but we also can offer hanging. We can do floor standing, freestanding, curved, and also 90-degree angles installs. You want to also keep in mind the trim kit and the power. goes around the wall. Trim kit is about 1 inch or so, and the power bar is 4.5 inch. So you want to make sure that we keep that in mind when we factor in the sizes. Warranty, our FE series comes with 3 years warranty, can be extended to 5 or possibly 10. And our FE series comes with 2 years warranty that can be extended to 5 years warranty. What's your source? Is it HDMI or otherwise? What's your resolution, 4K, 1080p, or 720? And also, are we going to be scaling up or down, or is it pixel to pixel? I mean, this is where myself and Ken come to play, and we can help you out with deciding your solution. One thing you want to keep in mind is that your size and resolution are directly proportional. So the bigger you go, the higher the resolution gets. For example, to achieve full HD using 1.2 millimeter, you have to do 4x4 of our 27-inch panels. That will be 110. To do 4K using these very same panels, you have to go double. You got to go 8x8, and that would be 220 inch using same exact panels. So the higher you go, the higher your resolution would go as well. Next slide. How to pick your pixel pitch. Many formulas we've seen in the industry. This one's straightforward formula that we use is basically FE series 1.5 millimeter for optimum viewing distance, where the average person can no longer see pixels. So they can see a whole nice large image with no pixels. The way we look at it is we use our 1.5 millimeter and multiply that by 2. So your optimum viewing distance would be 10 feet. So a person that's standing 10 feet away will no longer see pixels considering the 1.5 millimeter display. For acceptable, the person will still see pixelation, but it will be a clear content. It will be reasonable. You can see the image, but it will be a little pixelated. And how we count that is it's 1-to-1. So for our 1.5 millimeter pixel pitch, it would be 1.5 meter, which is 5 feet. So the person standing 5 feet away from a 1.5 millimeter display will still see pixels, but it will be acceptable. Again, you want to keep in mind, is it a still image or is it a video or PowerPoint presentation? Is it sensitive information? Is it a police department or medical reviews? All that, again, have to be kept in mind. Slide.
And let me just add in here real quick, and thank you for that. It's important to realize that many manufacturers will use sometimes acceptable viewing distance versus optimal in their specification sheets. If it's a 1.5 millimeter, the distance from pixel to pixel is 1.5 millimeters. It's a mechanical measurement. Can't fake that, can't change that. So just when you see one competitor calling 1.5 millimeter is a viewing distance of 5 feet and someone else calling it at 10 feet, it's important to realize that one could be using acceptable viewing distances in their specification sheets and another could be using optimal. But this formula will help you determine really where that sweet spot is.
Just to give you a perspective here, on the left-hand side, optimum, you're not really seeing pixels on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see a little pixels, but again, it's acceptable. You can read the text and again, budget, this is when budget comes to play as well. Next slide. And Ken is going to go over portfolio. Go ahead, Ken, I'll give it to you.
Yes, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Now that we've been through the process of determining kind of what pixel pitch works for your solution and understanding that it is a relationship not only between viewing distance, but also what the content is, the next step is to figure out, well, what product, what platform should I be using for my application? I'm going to show you the NEC Direct LED portfolio. I highlight the word NEC. We'll get into that a little bit later so you understand why. Moving left to right, our fine pitch indoor series is our FA and FE series. FA is our flagship series. FE is our lesser cost of series, but within the same platform. We'll go over more details on that. In the middle, you will see our A series. These are standalone posters. I'll give you some more details as this as we go along. And then our mainstream indoor and outdoor, the reason we call it mainstream, these are traditional LED modules. 500 by 500 millimeter square modules can be built into many different applications. Our FA and FA series is our primary series and one we talk about the most. On the left side, you see one of our modules with no pixel cards in it. This is how they are shipped. They're shipped to you with the pixel card separate. That is so the modules can be, when it is the wall's assembled, they can be put in place, aligned, tested long before you put the pixel cards in it, and therefore it mitigates any damage to the pixel cards. There are handles in there inside the module itself to handle it, to place it, and they pop back into place inside the cabinet, disappear once the pixel cards are on it. All our FA and FE series are 16:9 aspect ratios of modules. So as long as you keep the number of modules wide as you do in height, that number the same, you will maintain 16:9 aspect ratio regardless of the pixel pitch or regardless of the overall resolution. There are 8 magnetic pixel cards per module, with the exception of our 2.5, which is 4. This is important for easy to remove front access. It pops off with a Dyson vacuum cleaner tool. It pops right off the wall, very quick and very fast to replace. Probably in the 10 seconds or less, you can get one replaced on it. Metal pixel card housing. This is a very important part to remember, as is the metal acts as a heat sink, so the heat dissipation from the wall from the front is minimized considerably. And 2, the metal will retain its shape over time, and not being either a composite or a plastic. Some of the cheaper manufacturers, which over time will start to bend and warp very slightly, maybe a 0.5 millimeter deflection. But if you're talking a 1.2 millimeter product, that 0.5 millimeter is a huge amount. It's ADA compliant. From the back of our center mount to the front of the screen, 3.4 inches. And then all the wiring is internal on this, so if this is freestanding or the back is exposed to the customer, it is a very clean looking device. All you can see is a couple little blinking LED lights on it. The FA series is our #1 package. It's a fully redundant LED imaging package. Everything's front serviceable on it, so it allows placement in difficult to access areas. The pixel cards are hot swappable, so the display does not need to be turned off. We use multicolor LEDs within it. These are the diodes. As you notice, the multicolor word is using capitalized and hyphenated. That is the manufacturer of the LED diode, not just a multicolor LED using multicolors within the product. It is a premium LED. And this is an important part for us to talk about here, in the sense that NEC calls out multicolor, and we call out who we use as the diode manufacturer. The majority of other manufacturers will just say it meets commercial specifications or whatever that might be. I urge you, if you see that, to ask them who their manufacturer is, because there are tremendous differences in that. What it does is, and we'll go into more detail about the multicolor LED a little bit further, but it is a top-of-the-line LED which really delivers the reproduction that end users are looking for. These are all capable of 3840 refresh rate on the LED's display, meaning it's not going to flicker on camera. It's a fast refresh rate. It's great for broadcast applications as well as gaming applications. There's built-in redundancy within this. There's 2 power supplies in each FA module and 2 receiving cards. The 16:9 aspect ratio we already talked about. These are available in kitted bundles, which Adam will be going into a little bit detail later. And available soon, we're also going to have a much deeper black, super black high contrast model available. It seems to be about 30 to 40% blacker than the traditional one, which is going to mean colors become even more accurate and much richer. Our FE series, from the front, from the back, if you're looking at it, you're going to see absolutely no difference on it. So what are the differences on this? We still use multicolor LEDs from our 1.2 through our 1.9 millimeter, and 2.5 and above we use king light LEDs. The only other major difference on this, as far as the physical product itself is concerned, is there is no redundancy built in. So a lot of your applications that don't need redundancy, the FE series is where the focus should be on it. FA versus FE, these are just side-by-side comparisons in here. We talked about most of this here. We talked about the both good LEDs. Big differences, again, single power supply and single controller for FE versus redundancy in the FA on it. Both have 100,000 hour lifetime on it. You know, what does that 100,000 hour mean? And what is that number based on? That's half brightness. And what that means is at 100,000 hours, the wall will be running at half the brightness it was originally set at when it first turned on. Doesn't mean your wall goes black. What that means is at the end of 100,000 hours, if you first were running your wall at approximately 30% brightness, you may have to change that setting to maybe 50, 60, 70% brightness to achieve the same perceived outlook or brightness from the day you turned it on. Translated, 100,000 hours. If you're using the wall 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's 11.4 years. It is based on general usage, not 100% brightness, about 30 to 40% brightness, and using full motion video on it. This is a number that's why it's important. Don't focus on this when you're looking at LED solutions. If this is going to a corporate boardroom that's being used 8 hours a day, a 70,000 hour LED will last you over 30 years at that usage. A couple other differences here. One other difference is FA series has a 3-year warranty out of the box, extendable out to 10. FE 2 years, extendable out to 5, as Adam had already mentioned. We'd like to say the LED is future-proof. If you purchase 1 pixel pitch now, you can upgrade to a smaller pitch later if needed, or budgets change on it. For example, if you purchase a 3.1 millimeter pixel pitch today and upgrade to 1.5 millimeter in a few years by simply replacing the pixel cards on it. No need to take down the wall, replace the structure, you just swap out the pixel cards. It's coming to you now, Adam.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, absolutely. We have been adding to this list, why NEC dvLED? That's a question we get asked all the time. Again, options in picking your solution, FA series, for PD, FD, command and control, where no downtime is really allowed. So 16:9 panels, 2 controllers, 2 power supplies, 2 receiving cards. If one fails, the other one would kick in and assume responsibility. So again, your downtime is 0 or very minimal. FE series, some other applications don't really require redundancy, and the cost is also a little lower. FE stands for entry level, or you can look at it as economy as well. 16:9 panels, no redundancy with 2 years warranty. So these 2 options are, again, we can place it, depends on the application. Quality control, definitely Japanese quality standards and Japanese power supplies. And again, that's very unique in the industry. I have not seen it, or it's very, very rare that other manufacturers use Japanese power supplies. And that will control the lifespan of your wall. They will definitely last longer. LEDs, bin 1 multicolor, and that would give us great color consistency. And you can also use LEDs from a different batch. So if your customer likes to upgrade down the line and order more spare parts, that's also allowed with using a different batch. Modules are universal. They're universal modules. So again, we can reach our native resolution very easily. So a 4x4 would get us to, using 1.2 would get us to full HD, and 8x8 of 1.2 will get us to 4K. 8x8 of 2.5 will get us to full HD, and so on. So these particular sizes work very well with hitting our native resolution. The pixel cards are all hot swappable, so we can swap your defective pixel card while the display is on, which is, again, it's a great feature. We have not really seen it with other guys as well. And you can upgrade to a higher pixel pitch, like Ken mentioned. You can go from 3.1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeter in a couple of years when the budget allows, simply by replacing the pixel cards. And like I mentioned, we're also going to have to add some controllers to accommodate that many extra pixels. Novastar software, very user-friendly again, and that helps on site. When there's a problem, we can also remote in or fix the issues over the phone. We don't have to send an engineer every time when there's a problem, again, because it's very straightforward and user-friendly. Brightness with indoor up to 1200 nits, and again, like I mentioned, 6000 nits for the outdoor. And heat dissipation, that's a problem that our competitors have, that the display gets too hot, which causes the display to expand and contract, which will show gaps and seams. You don't want that. Our metal pixel cards act as a heat sink, so it actually absorbs all the heat. And if the display is on 24/7, no problem. It won't get hot, really. And no fans or ventilations needed. Even around the display, you don't need any ventilation. I've been asked that questions many times. What's the clearance that we need? Even if the wall is recessed, very minimal, just enough to let us replace that last row of panels. That's all what we need. But for ventilation, we don't need any clearance. Ken? Installation, our unique method of installation that basically minimizes gaps. Again, they all sit on top of each other like Legos, very nice and easy. And again, minimizes gaps, and this is what we're looking for. Nobody wants gaps in their LED display. Cable management, everything interlocks, and your power and data cables come through your power bar, and then everything is internal, nice and clean, no messy cables from the back like we've seen in the past. Local support, that's a big one. Everything is in the US, Midwest, repair centers, and also in Southern California, our warehouse and our repair center as well. So your round trip for your repair is very short. It's not going to take months, it's going to take a couple of weeks. ADA compliant, like Ken mentioned, 4-inch, below 4-inch, including the mount and the display and the panels. Calibration, we calibrate the wall every other year or so to make sure that our aging wall is matching our new spare parts. So your new modules or your new pixel cards would match nicely. And again, multicolored diodes help with that. The wall is going to be nice and uniform throughout. Bundles, when things get back to normal, when we get back online, manufacturing will, we assume that will take a little longer, and also shipping. Things will take kind of a little bit of time to get back to normal. We have a bunch of bundles in stock in the US with a very, very short lead time. And I always mention our bundles. And again, for custom solutions, we can position our bundles. We can play with it a little bit to make sure that it would, not all the time, but sometimes it would fit a custom. But again, reach out to us and we'll see if that's possible. Again, it's in stock, so that makes things much easier. Options for installation. Full installation is available where NEC handles the whole thing. Installation supervision, where we send one engineer that would supervise the install, and also we will go over our certification and how we do it, and that requires no installation from NEC, and the partner would handle the whole entire install. Okay. Slide. What's so special about multicolor? Very low failure rate, caterpillar effect, I'm going to cover in the next slide. Very high color uniformity, 98% Rec 2020, that's a big one. High brightness, up to 1200 nits, anti-glare, that's a big one. High contrast ratio, wide viewing angle, up to 160 degrees. And the moisture is a big one that I'm also going to cover on the next slide. Our diodes affected by humidity. And of course, the low deviation, which allow us to use LEDs from a different batch. Next slide. Humidity, again, multicolor. First one does not degrade with humidity. Company A, B, and C, it will over time. Again, not year one or year two down the line. This will happen with low-end LED manufacturers. And like Ken mentioned, LEDs account for 70 to 75% from the budget perspective. So that cost, keep that in mind. That a lot of that is the quality of the LED. If it's a lower cost solution, that means the LEDs are not premium, and that will happen. It will degrade over time with humidity and with other factors. Next slide. Another problem is shrinkage. Row here, if you can see, over time, the diodes form a concave face that will compromise the viewing distance and the overall performance of the display from all kind of factors. In the upper row, multicolor, nice and flat, your viewing angle would be excellent, 160 degrees. Concave face, no good. The viewing angle will be compromised. Next slide. Caterpillar effect. This happens when you have a bad connection, and that causes the whole entire line to go out of LEDs, like you're seeing here. And that usually happens out of the box. So imagine showing up on site for an installation, and you have 20-25% of your modules with that problem, and that will definitely delay installations because these will have to get fixed. Multicolor, that never happens out of the box. Again, that's something extra to keep in mind for peace of mind while the installation happens. Next slide.
Okay, I'll take it over. Thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate that. Just some specifications, but I just want to go back and rehash quickly the point you made regarding the cost of the diode would be about 70 to 75% of the cost of the overall product. That's a really important thing to always remember. When a lot of people come to say, well, why is your product so much more than a competitor? Well, that's specifically the reason why. A quality diode in it that has all those features you mentioned, great color depth on it, good viewing, good lens design, moisture intrusion, caterpillar effect, all these little things that add up really make it a quality LED. That's where the biggest thing is. So please, again, just try to remember that when you're looking and comparing product to product. That's generally the largest cost increase. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the spec sheets here. There's an FE and FA series one. I want to get more into detail about the products themselves. We've mentioned in the past that the super black version of FA-FE is going to be coming out on here. It's a flatter module design with extremely dark black mask, which will result in extremely wide viewing angle and sharp image quality. On the right, I don't know how it's translating on your computers, but the half of the screen on the right is super black versus the center one on the left. Considerable differences. Again, advertising, custom content is going to be much better on the super black product on it. There is a little bit of trade-off on it. Brightness is reduced a little bit on it due to the type of the module design on it. However, that 400 nits that you see there for brightness, indoor LEDs generally run between 300 and 400 anyway, so that is really a non-relevant number on it. Our A-series posters, these are standalone posters. On the right, you'll see how it comes. It's in the 1.9 or 2.5 millimeter options right now. Comes with the LED poster, it comes with glass on the front of it and the trim, comes with a stand. And behind the poster itself, mounted within the unit, is the controller, and that controller has a built-in media player in it. That media player can be accessed via a hardwired connection, via a thumb drive. It could be accessed Wi-Fi from your laptop, from your phone. It's very easy to get into that device and update the content in it. And so these are very easy to move around, and they're plug and play at that point. You plug them in, it's going to immediately come up with the previous content that was on it. Our Q series, we kind of talked about this a little. Up front, these are the standard square modules in here. We have a 2.8 and 3.9 millimeter indoor product, and we have a 2.8, 3.9, and 4.8 millimeter outdoor product. Where would you use this type of products outside of the standards? Why would someone not want to go to a 16 by 9 tile? Well, not every screen is 16 by 9. Some are oddly shaped. You think stadiums, you think ribbons someplace within a building. And also, you think a retail location. Let's use an example here of the 2.8 millimeter. If a customer is looking to put LED screens in their windows for a retail location, and the stores are, this could cost 50%, stores are interior in a mall, and the other 50% are stores that have windows facing the street, being on Fifth Avenue, New York, wherever that might be, where it might be exposed to direct sunlight. You can offer them a solution in, for example, 2.8 millimeter, same pixel count, same screen sizes, but one is an indoor LED screen, one is the outdoor LED screen. So what that means is the customer now only has to provide to the screens, regardless whether it's indoor or outdoor, one piece of content, same pixel pitch, same resolution. Makes it life a lot easier in a solution standpoint. Product comparisons on here, I'll just hop over these here. Additional dvLED optics. This is the point where I wanted to let everyone know that NEC acquired a German-based LED manufacturer called Quadrant a few years back. A lot of the products that they have not have NEC branding on them. We do have an option right now to offer products that may or may not necessarily be NEC brand at this point. Everything is moving toward NEC branding. However, these are it's an NEC company. You'd be purchasing from NEC, and these are some additional products that we have out there on the market that I want you to be aware of. And the other takeaway is it is a German-based manufacturing company. Therefore, all your mechanical work on this and all these products are extremely spot on. Just want to add that piece to it. We have our B series. This complies with stricter Class B regulations when it comes to FCC regulations. All the other products are Class A, and the majority of the stuff that you're using in the commercial world are Class A products. This is a Class B product. If you think airports and train stations where there might be a lot of radio traffic, this is a good product to consider when they have issues with EMI interference. Our Slim series is a smaller module. If you look at it here, it is the module as you see on the right. It's 320 by 320 millimeters each size. We have a 2.8 and a 4.0 indoor right now. There's also a 6.6 millimeter one coming out. These are great for curves, for smaller applications. It does not come with a mount, and the mount is designed into the frame and special projects itself, but we can help you with all of that there. And we have a transparent series coming out as well too. It can display HD content without blocking the view through it. It's great for window applications. This is the indoor stuff here. Allows about, so there's just not a black wall there, so you can see through it. You will see here it will range from a 3.9 millimeter up to a 16.7 millimeter on it. So this isn't exactly super high resolution, but it's great for eye candy. And again, doing stuff that is outside the norm. And we also have an outdoor transparent LED one as well. And this one here is you thinking of being mounted on the outside of, say, large arenas, have a lot of glass behind it, that at night you want to be able to see, or during the day you want to be able to see through it. This works very well on that. You see it range from 8 millimeter up to a 16.7 millimeter. Adam, I will turn it back to you for your kits.
My favorite part. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. Our briefing center in Chicago. This was installed recently, 165 inch. To give you a perspective, those are 6 by 6 of our 1.9 millimeter 27 inch panels. 165 inch. Next slide, Ken.
Yeah, and let me just jump in here real quick, Adam. We were talking about easy to install. You mentioned that quite a few times before. This particular wall was installed by really just two of us, 2.5 people to be honest with you, had a little bit help with the wall, over a span of about 10 hours. So it does not take a tremendous amount of time to get the wall up and running.
Again, for customers that like to upgrade, which that has been happening recently from traditional LFD to LED, a 2x2 of 55s, if your customer has that and like to upgrade, that would be equivalent to our 1.2 millimeter 110 inch LED display. And that can be done in 1.2 millimeter, and that can get us to full HD. And if we use 1.9 panels, 1.9 millimeter panels, that would be a 720p. So again, 2x2 of 55s equivalent to our kitted in stock bundles. It's in stock, it's ready to go for customers that like to upgrade. Next slide. Same thing with our 1.5 millimeter direct view LED 137 inch. That's equivalent to any of the 3x3s of 46s of LCD. So any customer that currently have 3x3 of 46s and they like to upgrade, good to go. 1.5 millimeter 137 inch. Available in FE and FA series, and that's again full HD. Next slide. If your customer have a 3x3 of 55s, perfect. We got the 1.9 millimeter like we showed in the briefing center, 165 inch, and that's a 6x6 full HD, FA and FE as well. And lastly, 4x4 of 55s, 2.5 millimeter, available in 2.5 millimeter panels that will get us to full HD, and also very cool solution, 1.2 millimeter that will get us to 4K. So 8x8, 220 inch, 4K using 1.2 millimeter, or full HD using 2.5 millimeter, ready to go FA and FA. What comes with it? One-stop shop, everything. The modules, the control PC, power bar, 2 controllers for FA, like we mentioned, 1 main and 1 backup. Comes with the wall mount, comes with the trim kit, spare parts, 2%. That can be, again, extended to 5%. And warranty, 2 years, 3 years, can be extended to 5 or 10. And with the FE kitted bundles, same exact thing, except 1 controller, since it's non-redundant. Next slide. The earlier you get us involved, the faster we can get things up and running. It takes about 6 weeks for the whole entire process. But again, we love to get engaged early to make sure that we vet the right opportunity as well. So yeah, please feel free to reach out and let us know what's your application, and we can help you vet as well. Next slide. So us, again, myself and Ken, product specialists, and our huge sales team, we're going to get you started, and then we will provide a bill of material, we'll provide detailed drawings of the wall, basic drawings for the wiring, and we will hand it to Film and Governance team, operations, and they will take over from there for site surveys and scheduling and things like that. Next slide, Ken. And I have heard about our certification. What is that all about, Ken?
Thank you, Adam. Like many other companies, we like to certify our partners who are doing the install. A lot of partners come to us and say, well, if I know how to install LED, why do I need to go through your certification program? Well, the product's a little bit different, slightly. There's slight differences on the way it gets installed. I think we'll look at that in a little while here. But more importantly, if you look at this list of what the training videos include, near the bottom, it talks about live troubleshooting and service. The majority of the second day training, it is a 2-day training at our office in Downers Grove, just outside Chicago. It does focus on servicing of the wall, troubleshooting and maintenance. And we feel from you know, whether it be an end user partner, whatever that might be, is that's the critical data to learn. Anyone can learn how to install an LED wall on themselves. Look in the manual and say, hey, I got this. But the troubleshooting is really where the key takeaway from this is. And on top of it, then when it comes down to our kits and some of our products, we offer some incentives for those people who are certified through the purchasing process through us. We'll go over the installation process quickly to show you kind of what it looks like. On the left side, you will see the vertical strips going there. It's a little bit hard to see, but there are some keyhole slots on that mount. The thing we ask for before we come to install is that we just have a very flat wall behind it. Anyone who's installed LED in the past, if it's 1.2 millimeter pixel pitch, it doesn't take much of a deviation of that wall to cause seams. So the flatter the wall is, the better it is. And we have, through our project team, ways of helping you get in there and mitigate that irregularity. But you see the vertical strip. The power bar drops into the vertical strip and gets tightened from the front. On the right side, kind of near the nook of his elbow, you'll see the power cord coming into it. That now comes to the back of the wall. Just to be clear on that, it does not come up from underneath. But what the technician doing, he's locking the power bar in place. You will see on top of the power bar a gray connector, power and data come through that, as well as the silver registration pins that help align the module. On the right side, the technician is dropping the first module into place. Technician continue and do the first row of modules. You will see on the picture on the left, the technician is hand tightening a thumb screw. There are 2 screws on the vertical seam, and there are also 2 of those same type of adapters on the horizontal seam. You're going to lock these into place using just hand pressure to begin with. These are going to hold your modules together. Another important part of the power bar, not only does it distribute power and data, it also ensures you a rock solid first row of modules going in that are in perfect alignment. So it makes the rest of the install go very easy. Continue, you start with the second row of modules. You will see on the left side a square, or let's place a diamond block connecting the 4 modules together. 2 of the 4 screws are in there. When the technician is going to be finished up that whole first row, you go back and you put 4 screws in that, and you tighten that block down considerably. That is going to bring those modules into a Z-axis alignment. Then you can go back, and you remember on the previous slide, those little thumb screws that the technician was tightening. You go back and tighten those considerably with enough force, and then come back and remove that plate. Now your modules are in alignment much, much closer than ever could be done before. And behind every single pixel card, there's additional 4 screws that are able to do minor Z-axis adjustments as you need to move along. On the right, the technician is the plumb on the wall, making sure it's level. The wall plumb can be adjusted from the front side very easily. Left side, they continue doing all modules. At this point, when all modules are in place, there are 3 steps you need to take to get done. The first is you need to install the trim. The trim needs to be in place prior to the pixel cards going in place. The second thing you want to do is energize the wall, and you can see the LEDs blinking from the front side. This way you ensure that you're getting power connectivity all the way through. And then the third thing you'd want to do is send the wall maybe 30 to 40% grayscale to the wall. Therefore, on the picture on the right, when you start installing pixel cards should immediately light up with the content or with the grayscale. If at that point the pixel card does not light up, you can stop what you're doing at that point and rectify the problem and trace it back versus populating the entire wall and realizing there's a fault someplace in the middle of the wall that needs to be addressed. Now you have to pull pixel cards back off, and you can achieve additional damage on that.
One more thing, Ken. So pixel cards have no serial numbers. Any pixel card can go anywhere, which makes installation much faster. We used to have to match that pixel card has to go in that particular spot. With FE series, the pixel card can go anywhere. And same thing for spare parts. Spare parts, any pixel card can go anywhere. You don't have to match serial numbers. You don't have to send data to it or files to it. It's good to go. Already pre-calibrated.
Okay. No, thank you. And I'll let you talk about it if you want to talk about some of these install examples.
Recently, Palm Springs, California, for Porsche. Great project here. 2.5 millimeter, 2 screens. That was done December of 2018. Next slide. Downtown San Diego very recently, December of 2019. 20 foot by 17 foot of FA 2.5 millimeter in a lobby in downtown San Diego. Largest wall installed by NEC. Very cool. As a part of that, very nice. Auditorium, so for a health insurance company, Louisville, Kentucky, back in March of 2017, a while back. And that's 1.5 millimeter solution here. So they can play, again, they can do still images, they can do PowerPoint presentation. Outdoor applications, believe it or not, this is a 6.2 millimeter using Q series panels. You can really see any pixels, which is great. And then we can pump up the brightness during the day on the right to make sure that we're accommodating the sunlight. And also on the left-hand side, you don't want it too bright at night. So that's usually probably 20%, 25% brightness. And I wanted to mention the light sensor. So we have a light sensor that would adjust the brightness throughout the day. It would dim during the night, and then it would brighten during the day. That's a cool feature as well, because you don't want it too bright at night. Because neighbors start complaining, right? It's too bright.
Correct. They do. And talking about you can do schedule the brightness based on time of day or ambient light levels, but then you can also schedule time of brightness. For example, if this is in a location where no one is in the building from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. and no one's seeing the wall can be set to go to black, which helps for the total cost of ownership considerably on it.
Arenas, very cool here. That's slim series that Ken went over, 10 millimeter slim series. As you can see here on the left-hand side, the mount has to be manufactured, custom manufactured, and then slowly put things together, and the finished product here in the bottom, very cool. And we can do with slim series, we can do curved, like you see the lower part of the display.
Yes, thank you for catching. I was just going to bring that up, the curve and the flat.
Edmonton Airport, 2.5 millimeter. The kit that I mentioned, that's a full HD solution, 220 inch. Very, very cool. And that's FA redundant since it's an airport, and downtime isn't really, wasn't really considered. They wanted it to be always up and running. 220 inch recently, that was a couple months ago, February of 2020. It
was recent.
Recent.
Here's where you guys
please reach out.
One thing we definitely want to say is throughout this whole process, when we talk about all these solutions and all these opportunities and to use different products with us, I'm talking about pixel pitch and distance. Adam makes ourselves available for you. It could be from when a LED project is just a thought. Reach out to us. We are there to assist you through the whole solution process to make sure that at the end of the day, we are defining the best possible product and pixel pitch for what is needed for the opportunity. Otherwise, that is at the end of it. I think we're going to open this up for questions. And if Gina, you want to there's anything out there, we're happy to take them.
Thanks, Adam and Ken. Are there questions? I'll give it a few here if anybody wants to type any questions. Otherwise, we can, if you think of any, obviously reach out to, you know, can reach out to myself or Adam and Ken, and I can, if you reach out to me, I can send them to Adam and Ken as well. Well, as a reminder, we do have these weekly webinars that are available. You could register for. If you miss one, we will have some next week as well. Our next CTS course is next Monday, April 27th, which is how to determine the correct display technology worth 1.5 RU credits. We appreciate your time and we look forward to seeing you on future webinars. Stay safe and be well, everybody. Oh wait, we do have some questions. Sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Can you do a wave design or multi-curved?
We can, again, using Slim Series, but it really, you know, it's on case by case basis, basically. So we have to kind of look at the how much the curvage is. Is it too curved or, yeah, so it's possible for sure.
We absolutely, and we can do it. We have to look at each individual opportunity. If you're talking about a curve that is a single curve, yes, we can do it. If it's a compound curve, that might take some forward discussion to do, you know, kind of have that discussion if it's curving two different directions at the same time.
Are there options to use our own media player? Or, you know, their own media player?
Oh, absolutely. Our systems are agnostic to whatever's upstream of it. Our inputs right now on the controllers will vary depending on which controller we specify. HDMI input, some of them have HDMI, HD SDI. It doesn't really matter whose media player that is upstream of that.
Thank you. I'll give it a few extra seconds too, in case there's some that roll in. Okay. Lastly, do you have any tests nationwide for service?
Say again, Gina, sorry?
Lastly, do you have any text nationwide for service?
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear?
No, you broke up there, Jane. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Breaking up a little bit.
Do you have any text nationwide for service?
Text nationwide. Yeah, we just have technicians and people we work with that can definitely help provide service where needed. We definitely want to know that up front as we come into the service plan that's being expected from NEC, and how that service is being provided directly by NEC, by a installation partner who's providing the front line on that. I mentioned earlier in the presentation, what is highly recommended is anytime an LED wall gets installed from us, it's provide access for remote management. I'm mentioning to say 90% of the issues can be resolved remotely, or we can tell someone kind of what to just go reseat this pixel card, for example. But the majority of it, we won't provide remote access. If it is in a space that is relatively open to the public, we also ask for a PTZ, a point, tilt, and zoom camera, to be installed someplace close by so that we can also have access to. So when someone calls us, hey, I have a problem with my wall in this location, not only can we get into the controller, we can also look and see what the wall looks like and try to resolve that remotely. That should be a frontline option for service whenever possible.
Okay, I do have another question. Are your LEDs certified? Is it for REC 2020?
They don't. There's no LED that I'm aware of out on the market today, even the high-end Chias of the world and the Crees that can exactly hit REC 2020. The reason behind that is the very edge of the color triangle, specifically in the reds. It pushes right off the edge of the color gamut on it. It's very difficult to hit, and even with extremely close binning, every single LED diode itself has very, very slight differences in tolerances. Enough where you and I would never pick that up. However, a color measuring camera would pick that up. So to answer that question is we can get about 98% of the way there. I don't think anyone can hit exactly 100% yet, but we can get pretty close to it.
Thank you. Any other questions out there? Give it some more time. Okay, well, if there are any questions later that you think of, don't forget to reach out to one of us and we can get those answered for you. But other than that, I think that's everything we have, and we appreciate your time today. Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.